Welcome back, hackers. I have this very enthusiastic Jean-Luc Picard meme because I am very happy that you guys were able to decrypt the hacking tools for this very tough scholarly argument genre. If a lot of you noticed, there are a lot of similarities between this and the Informational Report blog, but some very notable differences. Okay, that sound means we are having our third and final hacker challenge. So let's take a look at the word clouds for the hacking tools that you guys have picked out for the digital identity argument. So if we look at 1101-57, we can see that there are a lot of good hacking tools here. Particularly, we see ethos, pathos, and logos. And I think those are very important hacking tools, but we also have statistics and quotes and visuals, evidence, references, and this sort of thing. Let's take a look at 1101-58. Again, we have pathos, ethos, and logos, and facts and statistics and research, and these are both good word clouds or good hacking tools picked out for this persuasive essay. And then 1101-60 has a lot of the good hacking tools, statistics, explanation, quotes, and research. But ethos and pathos and logos are kind of hidden in here, which means that not very many people picked those out. So since this is our last challenge, I do have to pick a winner, and I am going to pick 1101-57. Now, it was really a toss-up between 57 and 58 because both of those classes did pick out logos, ethos, and pathos, which are very important for persuasion. But I think that 1101-57 did a better job of picking out the importance of the thesis, the main claim or the main argument in all of these persuasive texts. Now, if we take a look at the word cloud for everyone, all the classes, we could see we have a better picture of all of the possible hacking tools that can be used to make a good, persuasive, argumentative blog. And we can see that pathos and logos and ethos are very prominent in the word cloud between all three classes. So good work in picking out those hacking tools. So rhetoric, to go back to the chapter on it, is very broadly defined as just the art of persuasion. So there are three ways you can do that. You could appeal to logic, right? So this is a well-worded logical claim with backing, which might be more claims or good reasoning, some proof, evidence. A lot of times you guys mentioned that some of the statistics and charts appealed to your sense of logic, and that is very purposeful, right, on the part of the author who was trying to persuade you. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to have charts and numbers to persuade somebody, but they are very persuasive. So anything that works on our sense of logic or reasoning, numbers, that's going to be an appeal to logic or logos. Now, appeal to credibility or ethos could be anything from, as you guys mentioned, tone. Having a professional tone is an appeal to credibility or ethos. You could also, if you cite credible sources, you're going to have a much better ethos in your blog, just like the citation of credible sources in Bolstroff and Castronova and also Boyd showed us they had a they had more credibility, right? The last one that only a few of you pointed out was pathos, or appeal to emotion. But I absolutely agree with those examples that you pointed out. Pathos isn't used a whole lot when it comes to scholarly argument, particularly because we are kind of immune to an appeal to emotion. Sometimes we get a lot of that with advertising or propaganda. Anytime a baby is in a commercial or propaganda, we know they're trying to appeal to our sense of emotion. But I agree in particular parts. There was a very good strategic use of pathos. I think somebody particularly pointed out Castronova using a specific call to pathos, and I completely agree. But all of these hacking tools that we've listed could really fall under each of these three categories. These are the ways that we can use to persuade somebody that our opinion is the correct one. And this is really what differentiates this genre from the last one. Not only are we going to use that evidence, right, and data and information, but we're going to use it to back up a main point. And that main point is that we are making a claim to some type of identity or some particular way that identity works in our digital community that we researched. So I've gone through and looked at all of your working theses, and for the most part, you guys are doing a really good job of making an argumentative claim about how identity works in your digital community. For those of you who might be still thinking about this, right, not quite to the point where you have a working thesis, I would say a couple things. Some of you thought that the people in your digital communities didn't really have much of an identity. And I would say that maybe it isn't quite as pronounced as it is in Second Life, right? They're not creating a whole new digital body to run around in. They're not creating a whole new fictional identity. But I would say that anybody who is in any of these digital communities probably plays a particular role in that digital community and might act a little bit differently or perform his or her identity a little bit differently than they would in another group. One example in the real life that I would give of this is you act differently with your friends than you do at church, right? Because there are different expectations for how you would act. Say with your friends at a bar, or with the members of your congregation, you're going to act a little bit differently because of different expectations. Doesn't mean you're a different person, but you are performing your identity in a different way. Just like that difference between the bar and a church, people perform their identities in different ways depending on the digital community that they're in. And some of you guys pointed out this could include status, as far as the moderators acting in a different way than the normal members of the digital community. But I would also say there are probably values that each of these digital communities hold that help shape the way that people perform their identities in these groups. And that really can be backed up with careful observation. But if you're still struggling with the thesis, I would suggest that you go look at at your colleagues' theses. The discussion board that I have opened up is not one that you have to post first in, particularly because we're working on a thesis about our specific digital community. So take a look at your colleagues' theses and see if you can find a way to create a good claim or argument about how identity is performed in your digital community. Now, just like all of the assignments, you can certainly turn this in late, and I would strongly suggest you do, especially this assignment. And you will get partial credit at the end of the semester, so just because it's late, I wouldn't avoid turning it in. by and large, though, you guys have done a great job about having a working thesis that you guys put up last night. And a working thesis, I would just stress, is not set in stone. It's not final. It's just something to throw out there to start arguing with, and you can change it up. It's a rough draft. So if you're not sure that it's the best thesis, that's okay. You can revise it as you write during the beginning of this week. So what we'll be doing for Wednesday is to get up 500 words of a rough draft of our identity argument, digital identity argument blog. And you guys have a great start with these working theses. So you're just going to figure out what type of evidence to bring in, what type of reasoning to bring in, how you're going to portray your ethos or your tone, and give me about 500 words, about half of the essay, so that we can do peer review. And so once you have uploaded your rough draft, your 500 words, then we will spend the rest of the week peer reviewing and answering questions on your colleagues' drafts. So I don't have the list up so that you'll know who you'll be peer reviewing, but once everyone gets their draft up by Wednesday midnight, I will create that list, and then you'll just answer for the questions for the 4 people below you in the list that I put up. All right. I hope you guys have a good time developing these drafts for your digital identity argument blog. And please feel free to get a hold of me by email, phone, or hop on Discord. We already have a pretty good conversation going on there. You're more than welcome to hop on and lurk or ask me questions 24/7. All right, I hope to see you online.